Hello, and welcome back to Breathe and Bake. Today, we are going to talk about really focusing in on your body's hunger and fullness cues. If you've ever eaten because you are bored or stressed, or just because it's time to eat, it's 9 o'clock, so that means I eat this. It's 10:30, that means I have my snack. Instead of actually focusing on, am I hungry right now, but just out of habit, you are not alone. Today, what we're going to look at is how to focus on what our body is telling us in terms of being hungry or being full, and being able to differentiate between whether we are reaching for a snack because we're hungry, or are we reaching for a snack because we're bored or lonely or stressed or something else. Hunger and fullness cues are natural signs that our body gives us to regulate the amount of food that we're eating. But diet culture and emotional eating can really impact our ability to acknowledge and receive these signals. Today, we're going to be talking about how to reconnect with those. A great way to start off with this is using a scale. So, thinking to yourself, on a scale from 1 to 10, how hungry am I? And noticing even, how do I know that I am hungry? What signs are my body giving me to let me know that I'm hungry? So, for example, if I am at a 4 to 6, kind of in the middle, which ideally is when you're eating. You're not eating when you're a 1 or a 2, when you have no hunger, um, but perhaps you're just bored or just eating to continue eating. You could be at a 1 and be overstuffed, right? Um, so 4 to 6 is, oh, I have some room in my stomach. I am feeling like blank, whatever that feels like for you. When we get to 8, 9, and 10, there are other signs that you're going to be experiencing, right? For me, I get very hangry if I am at an 8, 9, and 10. My family does not want me to be 8, 9, or 10 because I am definitely not emotionally regulated when I am too hungry, which is true for a lot of people. And then what happens when you're at an 8, 9, and 10 is you are just shoveling in food. You're willing to eat anything that's in front of you because you are so hungry. It also makes me think of that saying, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. That experience when you pile food on your plate because you're so hungry. And then you start eating and you're like, oh, actually, this is way too much for me. Um, and it's because of that feeling of being so hungry. So we want to eat when we're at that 4 to 6 level, that right there's hunger in the middle. And it's going to take a little while for you to note what hunger looks like for you at different areas of that scale. But then once you have it, you could really tune in pretty easily and identify for yourself where you are on that scale. And it becomes pretty intuitive. Nobody else has to tell you what a 5 feels like for you, what a 10 feels like for you, what a 1 feels like for you. You will know that for yourself and for your own body. What I would encourage you to do is to do that scale when you're thinking about getting food. So before you stand up and go to the kitchen, think, where am I on this scale? If you are at a 1 or a 2 or a 3, think, okay, why am I thinking that I want to go get food? An example for myself is that sometimes if I check in with myself and I'm not actually hungry, but I find myself thinking that I should be headed to the kitchen, it's typically because either I'm feeling really low energy, like I've been sitting at my desk working and I'm tired. And so I'm thinking, oh, if I have something sweet, then that's going to pick me up. Like my body starts thinking, like, oh, maybe something sweet, or my brain starts thinking, oh, maybe something sweet will be helpful. So if I tune in and be like, okay, my body's signaling that I want something sweet, but I'm actually not hungry, What can I do instead? And so often for me, that is taking a walk around the block, coming back, and then checking in with myself again. Is that craving still there? Am I any higher on the food scale? Where am I? So that little break between having that thought and reacting is really helpful. And just like when you are identifying whether you're hungry initially, that scale is also useful while you are eating. So, fullness does not come on quickly, just like hunger does not come on quickly, right? Hunger comes on pretty gradually. You're not hungry at all and then 5 seconds later super hungry. It's a gradual process. The same thing happens with fullness. And if we are eating really quickly, if we're not checking in with ourselves, we could miss our body's cues on being full or starting to get to the point where we are full, right? It takes some time for our brain to actually register that our stomach is full. So, what do we do to kind of combat overeating? Is to reduce that mindless part of just shoveling food in. And there's multiple ways that you can do this. One that is really easy that I recommend is in between bites, putting your fork or spoon down. Oftentimes, if the fork is in the hand, then we just keep on going. But if we put the fork down after we've taken a bite, we chew the bite, we listen to whoever we're talking to, we might take a pause, take a drink, respond, and then pick up our fork again and eat. That's an easy way to really slow down how quickly you are eating. And then at certain points in your meal, recheck in with yourself. Okay, when I started eating, I was at a 6. Right now, I am a quarter or halfway through the food that's on my plate. I feel like I'm at a 4. So I still feel like I'm hungry. I still feel like I have room to eat. I'm going to keep on eating. And you could do that and then check in again to say, okay, where am I? Well, actually, now I'm at a 2 or I'm at a 3. I'm not really hungry any longer. I'm going to put the rest of my food away and save it for another day or maybe later on. I'm feeling satisfied right now. So, taking that scale and working it in throughout the meal is going to be really helpful as a check in with your body. We really want to stop eating before we feel discomfort, right? We're tuning into our body's cues. So, what we are looking for is satisfaction, right? Satisfaction feels good in our bodies. Discomfort does not feel good. So, we want to stop at the point where we feel satisfied. If we have been disconnected from our body's cues for a while, this could take some time and this can take some practice, which is fine. So, be gentle with yourself and take it slow, eat slower, and really focus on how you're feeling. If you have a friend or a partner who is also working on eating more mindfully or being more intentional with their food choices, maybe this is something that you can do together and check in with each other throughout the meal as well. What is really helpful to this process is eating in a way that there is less distractions. So, whenever possible, taking your meal, sitting down at a table, and eating it without a TV on, without scrolling on your phone. Those are the sorts of things that could really take your mind away from enjoying your food and noticing how your body is feeling. So, removing those distractions gives you the break from the external stimuli, and it also allows you to tune into yourself. So, something else that tends to influence our eating is portion size. If we're eating at a restaurant, depending on where we go, we might be served Say you have a burger and fries. So you have your burger in front of you, your fries in front of you, your drink in front of you. And the message we receive is this food is in front of me. This is a portion. I should be eating everything that's on my plate because this is how it was served to me. Instead of letting external factors tell you this is the right portion that I should be eating right now, instead, again, tune into your body's cues throughout the meal and see how you feel. And remember that you don't need to waste that food, right? That food can be enjoyed another day. Sometimes we feel like, oh, this is so good, I need to eat it right now. That comes from the mentality of not allowing ourselves to eat certain foods. If when I eat ice cream, I need to eat 7 scoops of ice cream, it's likely because I will not allow myself to eat and enjoy 1 scoop at a time. It's because I'm like, I need to eat this now because I don't know the next time that I'm going to allow myself to eat this again. If we know that no food is off limits to us, that really we're going to focus on our bodies and what our bodies are telling us, then it becomes much less of a need, of a desire of having to eat a particular food because I'm not allowed to eat this again for a long time. We take that kind of external power away and we bring that on ourselves of I get to choose what I eat, when I eat it, what feels good for my body. One more helpful tip that might help you along the way is journaling. Journaling before you eat a certain meal. You could write down what you eat. You don't need to like weigh it or do anything like that, but just write, this is what I ate. This is when I stopped. This is how I felt on my food scale, and this is how I felt afterward. You don't need to do this long term. You don't need to do this for months. But in the very beginning, if you have been kind of removed from your body cues, journaling is a good way to slow yourself down and to really notice patterns for yourself of what foods make you feel good and what foods maybe upset your stomach, what foods you are struggling stopping when you are feeling satisfied, and that could give you more information to work with. I hope this was helpful. Let us know in the comments whether you try any or all of these tips and what your experience has been like.